Hello, welcome back to this class. In last class, we spoke about the ancient economic belts and we discussed four people. I think we started with Plato, then we went to Aristotle, and then we spoke about Thomas Aquinas and Ibn Khaldun. Yes, I went to look for the correct pronunciation, so it is Ibn Khaldun, not Ibn Khaldun. Right, in this class, we'll be looking at mercantilism. What does it mean? And then we'll be looking at the contributions of two people, Jean-Baptiste Colbert and Philip von Honig, to mercantilism. Alright, so let's just continue. So our lesson as comes. Number one, introduction to mercantilism, features of mercantilism, mercantilism in France, Jean-Baptiste Colbert and his principles, mercantilism in Britain, Philip von Honig and his 9 mercantilist principles, the Dutch and the British East India companies. Then you have an assignment. Not assignments really, like assignments. I think they're like 5 questions or something like that. So introduction, what does mercantilism mean? Actually, mercantilism was an era in human history where emphasis was placed on international trade. Where in the last topic, you see that was wealth was said to be obtained from agriculture. But during the mercantilist era, a lot of emphasis was placed on trade, on accumulation of metals, like precious metals like gold and silver from trade. Okay, so let's just read. The mercantilist era was the period between the late Renaissance and the modern era. The Renaissance was the period between the 14th to 17th century after the Middle Ages. Okay, so I start there. Then there is this other one. Mercantilism was an economic system of trade that spanned the 16th to 18th century. So I've put these things here because I don't know the students of what school you might belong to, and there might be maybe objective questions that you may have to answer concerning these dates. So these two dates are correct. If you have between late Renaissance and modern era, it's correct. If you have it as the period between 14th to 17th century after the Middle Ages, you are correct. And then if you have the exact date, which is 16th to 18th century, you are also correct. So here it says that mercantilism was an economic system of trade that spanned 16th to 18th century. So it's just basically a time in human history where, like I mentioned earlier, emphasis was placed on international trade. You understand? So let's keep reading. It was based on the principle that the world's wealth was static. So the mercantilists, they believe that the world's wealth was static as something like there's a finite amount of wealth in the whole world. So it's either I get them and you lose them, or you get those, or you have access to those wealth, to the wealth of the to the world's wealth, and I don't have access to it. So they saw it as a zero-sum game. They actually saw wealth accumulation as a zero-sum game. So when you say zero-sum, I think you should understand that from game theory. So where if somebody has a +1, the other person automatically has a -1. So by the time you do +1 -1, you get 0. So that was the way the mercantilists saw the world then. So they saw the world's wealth as static. So they try their best to get as much of it as they can get, as possible, while leaving close to nothing to remaining, countries. All right. So let me just read this second paragraph again. Mercantilism was an economic system of trade that spanned the 16th to 18th century. It was based on the principle that the world's wealth was static, and consequently, governments had to regulate trade to build their wealth and national power at the expense of other countries. I already explained that. So gains of trade were considered to be zero-sum. Zero-sum. So it's not like today when, based on what we've understood from Ricardo's theory of comparative advantage, we know that everybody benefits from trade. But in this era, they didn't see it like that. So the era was a time that many European countries, so we have England, France, Portugal, Spain, and so on, etc. The period where these countries attempted to accumulate the largest possible share of wealth by maximizing their exports and restricting the imports of manufactured goods. So protectionism was a full-blown policy. So During this era, what happened was that we are going to get to it anyway, but let me just kind of give you an intro. So what happened was that um, countries were focusing on the exports of manufactured goods. You understand? They were implementing a lot of policies that aid the export of manufactured goods. And at the same time, they were also implementing policies that prevent their country from importing manufactured goods from other countries. So I export manufactured goods to you, and then I only, if I were to import at all, so I was only going to import primary products. I was only going to import raw materials. You understand? Just goods in the unfinished form. Goods in the unfinished form. So mercantilism took different dimensions in different countries. So we are going to talk about mercantilism in England and mercantilism in France. So they are essentially the same, but they might, they kind of vary just to a little degree. Things cannot be exact in two places. You understand? But there can be a lot of similarities. So that's just mercantilism. It's a lot of focus on international trade. Then what kind of trading? Okay, so we export manufactured products only. Okay, or we export, most of our exports is manufactured products, and then we only get to import um, primary products. Okay, and so that was what these countries were doing. Okay, so England, France, Portugal, Spain, and so on. So when we say protectionism, we are saying that you are protecting your country. So protectionism policies are policies that protect your country from. It sees other countries as sort of like enemies. Okay, so you are trying to protect your own economy from the influence of this country. So part of the policies were the export promotion policies, import restriction policies in various forms. Okay, so yeah, we'll get to that anyway, so let's just continue. So wealth was considered as the amount of accumulated precious metals, gold, silver, etc., such that mercantilism was attacked for being bullionist. So here, unlike the class I was coming from, where some people, I think, was it Aquinas or Caldon? I think it was Caldon that saw that labor was like the source of the wealth of a country. Like labor is the one that creates the profit. Do you understand? You understand? So here they don't really, it's not really the human labor, and it's neither is it agriculture that they consider to be the source of wealth of the nation. They just, what they saw was the accumulation was precious metals like gold, silver. It's just continued to accumulate. So when we say bullionism, when we say it was attacked, the system was attacked for being bullionist. So we are saying that bullionism itself is the accumulation of precious metals, for the purpose of creating wealth, accumulation of precious metals. So anywhere you see precious metals, just keep accumulating, just keep accumulating. So so just called bullionism. Okay, so maybe they were using bullion banks, maybe the way we have bullion banks today that take money from one place to another. You understand, from one bank, maybe the central bank, to commercial banks. So maybe that was the way they had bullion stands that were carrying precious metals, the gold, the silver, and so on and so forth. So this is the brief introduction on mercantilism. So they are just important things to take note of. The time, okay, the era that it reigned. So what was the central focus, okay, of that's of the people in that particular era? Okay, and when we say mercantilism, so we're actually talking about merchants, we are talking about traders. Okay, we're talking about traders. So goals of mercantilism, we have two goals. The first one is like the basic goal anyway. So national prosperity through trade surplus and the accumulation of precious metals. So like I said earlier, the countries wanted to, okay, I think I've said it. The countries wanted to accumulate wealth as much as possible because they saw it as zero sum. So how did they think they could achieve that? They thought they could achieve that through trade surplus. I believe you understand what trade surplus is. Okay, so when you have more exports than you are importing. So these countries were striving, majorly European countries, striving to export manufactured products, and then of course if you're exporting manufactured products and you're importing just raw materials, there should be a trade surplus because manufactured products command greater value based on the value addition that has happened, in the market compared to just raw materials. So the mercantilists then and their the respective governments of these countries were pursuing national prosperity at the expense of other countries. Okay, what mechanism were they using? They were using trade surplus and the accumulation of precious metals to achieve that. Then the second thing that they were also trying to achieve then was economic and political power. Of course, the more wealthy you are, if you're wealthy, you have power to a reasonable extent. So if I'm able to get all the wealth in the whole world, of course, based on that alone, I should be able to command a significant economic power and by extension political power too. Okay, so these were the goals of the mercantilists. Then, not like that's changed now anyway. So features of mercantilism. So these are broad features of mercantilism. Okay, what's up with things that were that characterized that era? So number one, you have emphasis on manufacturing and international trade. So I put trade surplus here. So like I said before, there was little emphasis on agriculture. Agriculture was important. Please note that at least agriculture was important for food sufficiency and then reduce food imports because in this era you're trying to reduce your imports as much as you can and then increase your exports as much as you can. So not that agriculture was done away with like that, no, but it wasn't seen as something that could make the nation prosper. So it was more or less it's helping us to be food sufficient so that we don't import food from other countries. So that's just it. So the emphasis was on manufacturing and international trade. So you get raw materials from somewhere, you add value to them, and then you export them. All right. Number two, protectionism. So what were the different policies under protectionism? High tariffs on manufactured goods importation. So during that era, if you were to be importing a manufactured product, the government was going to kill you with tariffs. Okay, so to make sure that it is very very difficult for you to import those manufactured goods, or um, or impossible for you to import them at all. Okay, then you have low tariffs on raw materials. So if you were to be importing primary products, for example, then there was low tariff, okay, to encourage you because your manufacturing industries they need those raw materials, especially if you don't have them. Okay, so there was low tariff on raw materials. I think these things are just easy to understand. It's basically international trade. And there was outright ban of gold and silver exports. Okay, I think that should have been a third point. I don't know why it's standing there. Okay, even for payments, even as a medium of exchange, okay, gold and silver export were banned because what we are doing is that we are accumulating this gold and silver. How wealthy we are depends on the amount of gold and silver that we have. So in some countries, okay, not in all of them, in some countries there was outright ban of gold and silver exports. You don't export these things in any form of shape. You keep them within the country. Now you also had there were also subsidies on exports. This is also easy to understand. So more or less like subsidizing the manufacturing companies that were manufacturing industries that were export oriented. So limiting their cost of production in one way or the other. So you should understand what subsidy is for it to even attend this class at all. Alright, and number three, you have colonization. Now, I don't know, if you're reading mercantilism in some materials, maybe colonization may not be mentioned, but I think it is something important that should be mentioned because colonization and slavery, of course, if you are being colonized to a reasonable degree, you are being enslaved. Okay, so colonization was a peculiar feature of mercantilism. Do you know why? They were like major economic powers. You have France, you have England, you have even Netherlands, you have Spain. Okay, and these countries, you are not sharing, like you are not exporting, you are not importing manufactured product from them. Okay, and then the only thing that you are selling, the only thing that you are selling, or the only thing that you are importing is raw material. So these are more or less like countries that are maybe at par. Let me say something like maybe at par. That may not be the correct language, but they are all of them are manufacturer oriented. They are all into manufacturing. All of them are kind of doing the same thing. So the way England is trying to only export manufactured products and import primary products simply means that it can't really trade with a country like France because France is doing the same thing. France is not going to buy your own manufactured products. France is only willing to sell raw raw materials instead of. So like I hope I've not mixed these things up. So now what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I think the right thing is that countries were not even really selling their own raw materials. They are using their raw materials to feed their industries. And that's the right thing. France, for example, was using its own raw materials to feed its manufacturing industry. So it is maybe when another country has maybe surplus primary products, then it can say that okay, it wants to export. But if you want to export, it's fine. I can import if my own if the manufacturing industry is in my country, then of course I can import. Why not? Okay, but I think the central focus was that primary products were not even really exported because the respective manufacturing industries in these countries need the primary product themselves. Okay, so essentially, trade cannot really happen. You only want to sell manufactured goods, the other person only wants to sell manufactured goods, everything like that. So that means we have to find a place where we can sell manufactured goods and also get more raw materials. You know, so that was just the point. So it led to colonization. So every of these European powers, European countries began to look for colonies. They began to seek colonies. So you might even be surprised that Britain colonized America. It was also during this period. Okay, so they were looking for colonies. Countries in India was colonized. Countries in Africa were colonized. America was colonized. So, and what they were doing was that they were using their colonies to get more raw materials to feed the manufacturing industries in their respective home countries. Okay, and after that, they get the manufacturing industries. They export the manufactured products from their home countries back to the colonies. Do you understand? So it's more or less like compelling their colonies, the colonized people and the colonized countries, compelling their colonies to sell the raw materials to them at a very cheap rate. They then take these things to their own countries, turn them into manufactured goods and sell them to their colonies at high prices. So that was essentially what they were doing. So it was helping them to expand the manufacturing industries. Then, um, yeah, it was helping them to expand. So, if the when the primary products, when the raw materials in the home countries, in the colonizers' countries, began to diminish, and then the industry still need more and more of them. So it was easier to get more raw materials from the colonies. Okay. And after you've produced, then go back and sell to them at high prices. So like colonies were so central, played a very key role in during the mercantilist era or during mercantilism. So let's just read what we have here. So colonies were set up for the extraction of raw materials and purchase of manufactured goods. I've explained that. Then low wages. So in the colonies, the colonizers, where they paid low wages to the workers. They paid low wages to the workers, and they even got slaves. They enslaved a lot of people. Of course, you should know the story of Nigeria, the colonization, how Britain colonized Nigeria, this and that. So where they pay low wages to the people to the slaves. No, you don't even pay slaves to those that were not stable, were working, and they got a lot of slaves. There was a lot of slave trade, So you get slaves from the colonies, you ship them, you transport them to your home country. Let's say England, for example. England gets in slaves, or let me say Britain getting slaves from Nigeria, shipping them, like engaging in slave trade. You buy them, okay, and then you take them to your country, you take them to Britain and force them to work for you, okay. And some others that were not really slaves, you just pay them poorly. Okay, so that was what was happening there. And of course, if you've not read, you probably heard that the African leaders, for example, they engage in that slave trade. They engage a lot in selling their own people to the whites, to the Oyinbos, just because of money. Okay. Anyways, then the third point, forbidding colonies from trading with other developed nations. I see. So Britain, for example, could easily forbid, um, let's say America, okay, because they colonized Americans as well, like I said before, forbid them from selling anything, okay, to countries like England, Do you understand? So like that was what was happening. So England was doing the same thing with its own colonies, and others were doing the same thing with their colonies. Okay, four, you have more currency use. Um, More currency use. In fact, what led to the use of currency? I mean paper, like paper money now, was even funny because because of bullionism and the precious metals have been taken away, gold, silver that were used to make coins and whatever that time. So the colonies now, people in the colonized places, had to develop something else that they could use for money. That they could use to buy things, buy goods and services that they could use for trading. So during that era, they introduced paper money. Okay, so paper money was what they were using because they could no longer use coins because these colonizers were just taking the whole thing. So that led to the use of paper money. Like more paper money was being used compared to using uh, other forms of money that had intrinsic value, such as coins and gold coins and silver coins. So there was also the introduction of double entry bookkeeping for the first time. That also happened during that era. Then there was deep government involvement in economic activities. Of course, government was one that was enabling the protectionism policies. Okay, government was one that would put tariff here, not put tariff there. Government was one that would subsidize industry here, not subsidize industry there. So there was a lot of government intervention, government involvement in economic activities during that period. So you have establishment of merchant guilds. Merchant guilds were more or less like associations of traders. Okay, so merchant guilds were a medieval association made up of traders dealing in various goods, so not necessarily the same good. So that's just like merchant guilds were just a medieval association a medieval association for merchants. And of course, the job of a merchant is to take goods from one place to another. So merchants are essentially middlemen, the middlemen that we have today. So take good from somewhere where it is surplus and take it to the other place where it is where it is really needed. Okay. So these are the general features of mercantilism. So I'm not saying that all of these things happened in every of the countries involved in, of every of the mercantilist countries during that era, but to a reasonable degree, you could find all or most of these. Okay, not to the same degree now. Okay, in this in the during last period, 16th to 18th century. Okay, as Minister of Finance, right? Okay, Financial Minister, yes. So number one, he proposed deep government involvement in economic activities, and that happened. Then industries were organized into monopolies and merchant guilds. So industries were monopolized, like they had government backing. So that's what I mean. So they were government-backed monopolies. So the manufacturing industries then were government-backed monopolies. Government gave them a lot of support to make them stand alone. Understand? Then you have merchant guilds, like different association of merchants. And the state regulated production, distribution, and consumption. I think we'll get to a part of that. So it's not just production. The government was trying to tell them, the government implemented policies then that um, guides what you want to produce. What we want you to produce is manufactured products. So, and there were like 1,000 policies, 1,000 directives, that were being rolled out, that were rolled out at the time. Okay, on what to produce. Yes, on what to produce, like 1,000 directives, or maybe 1,000 and more. Then you also have distribution. Okay, if I'm saying that only manufactured goods should be sold and only should be exported and only what do you call it, raw materials, primary products should be imported. Of course, I'm also controlling distribution and consumption. So when we get to the principles of mercantilism, the nine principles of mercantilism, I think that's where we would see that the government also had a strong hand in consumption. So in that the um, every country should consume what it can produce, even the manufactured goods. So there's no point trying to consume manufactured goods from other countries at the time. So consume what you are producing. That's all. And then it was also kind of rational, like I don't know if rationalized is a language, or let me say rationed. Okay, in the sense that see the majority of the production we are doing is for um, obtaining wealth. Okay, it's for wealth accumulation. So majority of the things we are producing are for export, not consumption. So like control what you are consuming. So that's the point. So the government, was doing all of these things. And of course, like I said, they were also these were policies that were pushed out or rolled out by Colbert in France during that period. So you have foreign craftsmen were imported to promote domestic industry. So where they didn't have like the expertise to um, to where they didn't have the expertise to manufacture some products, okay, they they imported, foreign craftsmen, let me say something like foreign experts, okay, to help their domestic industry. All right, and then reduction to internal barriers to international trade, e.g., global export tariffs. Then you have extensive network of roads and canals to facilitate distribution, shipping and everything like that. So all of these things were, they were recommended policies that the governments really worked on, to ensure that mercantilism worked in France. Okay, so there is a note here. Robert's policies were successful in turning France into a major European power. So, in as much as some of these things may look, how do you call it now, may look wild or may look strange or weird to you, but at the time, the policies really worked in transforming France into a major economic power. So, I think we are going to stop here and I'll just continue from there in another class. So the other class, you're also going to find your assignment. So thank you very much. See you when I see you.